The channel has always billed itself as pursuing the issues in Central and South America. Even though Puerto Rico is a U.S. state, it is as much part of Latin America as any other country down there. And what they're facing is nothing short of Armageddon. They don't need power lines put back up. They need their entire power grid restored. And they could be looking, in some estimations down there, anywhere from 3 to 6 months without electricity. Now, I'm going to say something that's going to shock a lot of you, but there was one plank on Mr. Trump's platform that I actually completely agreed with, and I hoped he would have pursued literally as soon as he took office. And it is this issue of foreign aid. The people that put him in office, the ones that voted for him because he was going to put America first. He was going to make America great again. If he really wants to convince us, those of us who are extremely skeptical about his veracity and his honesty in this, he needs to forget about North Korea, forget about Syria, and start pointing our Navy at Puerto Rico and get boots on the ground there and get fresh water in there before this becomes a humanitarian nightmare. This isn't like Houston. This isn't like what happened in Tampa or in Naples. This is an entire country of 13 million people that has no running water, that has no electricity, and there was the police forces just might as well hang it up. They just don't have enough down there. No city would have enough. If you told any city in America you're going to go without power for 6 months, the police forces would just say, we need the National Guard right now. And that's what needs to happen. It's beyond epic what's happened there with Hurricane Maria. And if I know there's a lot of Trump supporters that watch my videos that don't like me. And that's fine. This is America. We're not allowed to, we are allowed to not like each other and disagree with each other. But he was tweeting just a few days ago about not bailing out Puerto Rico with tax dollars. Yet we have $300 million to send to other countries. Cuba, Africa, Syria, all these other places we got money to send to them. Really? Even Venezuela, I believe, is getting money. Israel, Jordan. Israel doesn't need our money. Afghanistan, I think, is the number one on the list. And, you know, it says LA Times. I mean, it is what it is here, but they do have some facts about the $50 billion that the U.S. spends every year on foreign aid, mostly to countries that don't have our best interest in mind. It's just, you know, and it says right in here, and he does want to slash it by 20%. I'd say 90%. You know, I don't know why that's even an issue at this point. We've got the issue with Harvey, we've got the issue with Irma, we've had 2 earthquakes in Mexico. I know that's not part of the U.S., but I know we have this thing in Puerto Rico. Let Asia be Asia. Let the Chinese and the Russians deal with that. He doesn't even need to tweet about it anymore. I mean, clearly, have we not established that the man can't reach the U.S. with those missiles? The issue with Iran? Fine. Let him. Leave. That's what he was elected to do. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't the big argument, oh, Hillary Clinton's going to get us into a war? And what was it, like 2 months and he was already lobbing tomahawks into Syria? Missing, mostly? I mean, if he wants to hold up to what he said he wants to do, some of his things I'm actually for. You know, start pulling money away from these terrorist organizations that are coming right from the U.S. There's no reason for it. There's absolutely no reason for it whatsoever. When we have a U.S. state that is on the verge of Armageddon, that we need to be sending money to anybody for anything. They made their decisions. in those other countries. Let them live with it. I just had one of those conversations with my daughter about how life's decisions lead to events. And you make other decisions and they lead to other events. And sometimes the bad ones you make teach you to make better ones. And that applies from when you're young all the way up through life and into government. So if we elected this man for a reason, if there can be something good come from this man, have him hold his feet to the fire, Trump supporter. Say, look, we elected you to put America first. And yes, Puerto Rico is America. We don't need to be sending these people, and this is September 21, 2017. U.S. announces $700 million in humanitarian aid to Syria. And who cares what CNN says about it, or who cares what Al Jazeera says about it? We have Americans that are suffering right now. We have all sorts of other issues on top of that in this country. That if we can't afford to pay Puerto Rico's insurance bill, whatever the Obamacare thing, we sure as hell can't afford this. It's just, math is math. I don't care how you look at it. And I'm not saying this to attack the man, but I think this would be a good benchmark. It would be a good ruler to say, okay, Mr. Trump, you said that in the last 8 years we had put America last and we had been on an apology tour, and a lot of that I agree with. Okay, do something now. You have an opportunity. Mother Nature has given you an opportunity to say, okay, here's what makes America great. America takes care of Americans first. And when things like what happened in Puerto Rico happen, we stop what we're doing and we fix the problem. We have 11 aircraft carriers. We have hundreds of ships. We could have boots on the ground. We could have ships offshore. And it's not like we're sending them halfway across the world to Japan after that earthquake. Puerto Rico's like literally in my backyard. We got Pensacola. We got Mayport here. We got all sorts of assets right there. That actually kind of have their hands full with the Keys as well. I even didn't mention that we've got the Florida Keys. We've got all sorts of problems right here at home. And we're announcing that we're going to send $750 million to Syria. And I do find it ironic that the reason that, of course, we couldn't elect Gary Johnson was because for 5 seconds he didn't know what the relevance of Aleppo was. I think probably most of you would have a hard time finding Aleppo on a map. A lot of people would have a hard time finding Syria on a map. And since the election, I don't think anybody has mentioned the word Aleppo in any major news coverage. So that's just my, libertarian point of view on that. So, Mr. President, and I will call you that for now, hold your word. You want to make America great again? You want to put America first again? Fix Puerto Rico. Don't just go visit. Fix it. Announce some meaningful change. Stop the money going to Syria. Say you're diverting it to Puerto Rico to put up their power grid. And let the Syrians deal with the Syrian problems. So, anyway, like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for your support. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this one. Thank you.